My name is Colin DeHaan, also known as Cowboy Colin on all the social medias. But thank you guys for coming. Most of you got to meet me at the booth. Some of you did not. Some of you are new, fresh faces, but you probably met my sister, my assistant, or any of that. My sister's my business partner in Gutter Launch. This is going to look way different than most of the breakout sessions, all right? Most of the breakout sessions you're going to, they're teaching you on this one thing, right? I got one thing I'd love to teach you guys about, but it's the seamless gutter industry. And I just want to make you guys all aware of the opportunity that exists in it, because it's a gold mine, all right? So I've been in the business for 8 years now. I've got 5 locations across 4 different states, and it's fully automated, all right? Works without me, and I use the Gutter Launch program with every new employee, every new location. Everybody goes through Gutter Launch, right? And it works, right? I'm not a guru up here just saying, hey, I used to have a gutter business and this is how you build it. Go do this and you're going to make a bunch of money. Like, this is actively happening in my business every single day. Every new technician, every new phone call or person in the call center, right? Every new manager, right, goes through everything that you guys are that Gutter Launch is, right? So I don't really want to sell you guys anything, right? So that's why this is going to look different. I'd rather you guys want to buy it than me have to sell it to you, right? So I'm not going to try and sell it to you. It's going to look way, way different, right? I want you guys to ask me a bunch of questions. It's going to be really interactive. And yeah, so I just want to make you guys aware of the seamless gutter industry, what it looks like, what it can look like for you guys, what it does look like for me, what it's looked like for a few people who have already gone through Gutter Launch. Gutter Launch is new, right? I believe in full transparency. I did my first beta round. I put 7 people through it in March of this year, and then I put another 5 through beta testing in April. And then we rolled it out to the public in June, all right? So I wanted to make sure that this was right, all right? So the beta testers, they went through this thing with a fine-tooth comb, all right? My vision behind this was, can my 7-year-old son do it? If the answer was no, I had to make it more simple, all right? I've literally got how to wind up an extension cord in this program, all right? Because not everybody had grandma whoop their butt for not putting the hose away the right way, all right? But I did. Right? So I taught you guys what my grandma taught me without you having to get your butt whooped. All right? So that was it. Right? I just want to go. I went through everything with a fine-tooth comb so that there are no holes in this thing. This is done for you, not done with you. All right? And yeah, so I want to know I want to tell you guys what it could look like for your existing business. Right? Jake actually used to be, when I coached Conquer, he was one of my clients. He was a Conquer, and I had the pleasure, absolute pleasure, of coaching this guy because he just brought that smile to every single call and just always had that upbeat attitude, like I can do anything, right? And he loves Jesus as well. So, but he owns a pretty large washing business, right? Mostly commercial stuff, and we were just talking and how he doesn't do a lot of residential. And I was like, dude, you got to get into some residential stuff, right? Eventually, commercial, like, it just takes one thing, right? If the economy craps, they don't really need you that much, right? Maybe some businesses need to have cleaning for sanitary reasons or whatever, but they don't need the outside of the building clean, right? So we gotta diversify a little bit, and so just I want to talk about what it could look like adding it on, right? I've talked to Jeremy about what that could look like adding that on to your wash business, right? And then I just want to know all your concerns about the seamless gutter industry. I've had all sorts of crazy questions. I don't want to go on a ladder, right? I don't want to do this thing. I don't want to know how to do, it's another thing. I don't have time, whatever it is, right? I want to know you guys' concerns and answer any questions that you guys possibly have, all right? So I don't know where my clicker went, but we'll go this way. All right, so one of my favorite movies is Coach Carter. And I don't know if any of y'all remember the movie Coach Carter, but there's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. All the guys are reading their stats after a basketball game. And he goes, those aren't your stats. And he comes in, he tells them all their turnovers and their missed free throws and all that stuff. And he goes, those are some stats for your ass, right? And just let them have it. So the worst gutter businesses, all right? And I can say businesses because they're not businesses. are doing $4,000 to $8,000 per week in revenue. All right, these are real numbers. These are people I talk to every single day. All right, I run a gutter page with 11,000 people on it. I see all of it. I see all different breeds and everybody from guys doing $10 million a year to guys doing $10 a day. Right, I see it all. Our gutter launch trucks, all of the trucks in my businesses and all my locations are doing $25,000 to $30,000 a week. And this is, again, not just my businesses, all right? These are guys that go through the gutter launch program. We just launched a guy in North Carolina last month. His first month, he was just shy of 6 figures, all right? And he's never touched the tools. He was off the truck from day one, all right? So just shy of 6 figures, never touched the tools by simply just following what gutter launch says to do, all right? He did it without talking to me, right? Because I'm only one man, right? We've got a goal of signing up 100 people while we're here. And if we sign 100 people up, I can't coach every one of those 100 people, right? So I built this so that you guys don't need me, all right? That's the goal in this. You don't need it. You don't need me. You need this. And then I got West Coast. He's in here. He's in the back corner. And he moved from Salt Lake City to Idaho, and Boise, Idaho, and sold his window cleaning company. His first month out in Boise, your window cleaning company was just shy of 3 years old, right? When you sold?
About 2.5 years old.
2.5. All right, so 2.5 years old. He ran it with his cousin, and they are movers and shakers, right? They push really, really hard. Moved out to Boise, did $40,000 his first month. All right, didn't know anybody. Had a 4-month pregnant wife who was very dependent on him through all that, so he had to produce. All right. So $40,000 in his first month. Eric is the guy in North Carolina, $98,000, all right, in his first month. And again, never touched the tools. Tim Johnson, this is actually one of my mentors. He's one of those guys that just like, he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, but he loves construction. So he just builds houses for fun, and like he'll buy 10 acres and I'm going to develop this and just sell them off because I like doing it. And I've got guys and I love shop talk with the guys, right? So he does that, and he happened to have a gutter machine, and he was at an event and I was talking about gutter launch, and he's like, dude, my guys are always on me. Like, dude, gutter's so easy. Can you get us more gutter jobs? We just want to do more gutter. And I was like, cool, I'll put you through this. So he was in my second beta round, and he's like, Colin, there's no way that I can get customers to pay this much money that you're telling me to. He was charging like $6 a foot for 5-inch gutter. And I said, you got to get him up to 12, 13 bucks a foot, man. And he's like, there's no way. This is South Bend, Indiana, man. These are home of the Catholics. They're the cheapest people in the world, and it ain't going to work. And I was like, just try it. Just try it for me, all right? And he's like, fine, I'll give it a whirl. So he follows the program to a T. He's like, Colin, I'm selling it for 16 bucks a foot. This is working. He goes, these customers, he goes, I went from like competing on price where they just show up, or a check would show up and I'd get the deposit like 6 weeks after I quoted them, right? To now, I don't leave their house without a check. They're like, okay, let's get this party started, right? And he goes, I'm not even asking for the sale. I just do what other people aren't doing. I'm inspecting their foundation like you tell me to do. I'm getting in their basement and like, look, you got some wet block right here, right? This means you got water here. We don't want to put any downspouts here. So he started doing that, 2.5x his revenue, all right? Just by simple little things, right? And then Colin Ehlert, he's at FAQs, all right? Because we're going to get this party started, and you guys, I want you to ask me a bajillion questions while Shelby is handing out our sign-up form. So you guys can put all your information in it. There's some free stuff on there, so everybody has to fill this out because you get free stuff. But do I still have to pay 10% if I hit $1 million in the first year? Yes. It does not stop at $40,000. All right, this is not me giving you a loan for up to $40,000. This is me betting on you and betting on gutter launch. All right, I'll take your $40,000 up front all day long. Right, but if I'm going to bet on you, my hope is that you do $1 million, and so I make $100,000 of that. Right, but it's going to take me 12 months to make that, 12 months to make that much money. All right, so we're gonna that's how confident I am in this program. All right, I just shared with you guys how Eric Adank down in North Carolina did $98K in his first month in a completely new city that he moved to and knew nobody in. All right, can I make payments for the full $40K? You cannot. I have had people that go and get a line of credit or have a line of credit and pull out of that. The bank will take your payments, but I will not. Unfortunately, that's not something I'm interested in doing. So it just becomes too much of a hassle if you quit paying, and I don't feel like dealing with attorneys. So that's it. And how much does a gutter machine cost, right? Because obviously, if you give me $5,000 today, you still gotta go buy a gutter machine in order to operate. You still gotta buy some tools and all that good stuff, right? So a gutter machine, you can buy a used one for $4,000 to $8,000, or you can buy a brand new one for $12,000, $13,000. All right, a lot less than a soft wash skid. And do I need any special tools? There are a couple specialty tools, but they're like hand tools, $50, $60, right? Nothing really ridiculous. I give you direct links to all of those tools, all right? So in the program, we'll go through that whole thing in the platform, but I show you everything, who I use for Facebook ads, who I use for Google ads, who I use to build the website, right? And what they'll do, if you want this, you can choose to do it differently, but I recommend doing it this way, is I just want to mimic Colin's site. All right, so you give them your logo, your name, and your About Us page, and everything else looks just like mine. All right, so it works just like my company's work. All right, that is fastest and quickest to scale. All right, that's it. I show you where we buy all of our company shirts, right? Our collared shirts for sales reps, our regular dry fits for our techs, our sweatshirts, all of it, right? All the links are in there, all of our marketing material, where you buy yard signs at, right? Where to buy your door hangers, right? Where to buy your folders, all of this stuff, all right? Everything that we do, you have a direct link to it, all right? And these are, like, I've got a full team that their job is to find the best products at the best pricing, right? Like at the end of the day, that's what they do, all right? Does the payment include the CRM or any marketing materials or anything? This is a very common question that we get asked. It does not. You still have to pay your monthly subscriptions for your CRM. And I'll show you exactly what CRM to use, right? Why we use it, how to set it up, all that good stuff. So I'll walk you through all that, and then your QuickBooks, right? You're still going to have that, right? All those things. I'm not a software company. We are just here to help you launch your gutter business into outer space. That's it. All right. We'll help you even get back if you really feel a little loopy up there. But yeah, we will. We're just here to launch you and get you rocking and rolling and making a bunch of money and having a bunch more time, right? Because that's all of our dreams here, right? We all came to Huge to figure out how we can run our business more efficiently and have more time to spend the money that we're making on the things that we want to be doing, right? Amen? Amen. So, how do I get the 10% each month? All right. We have QuickBooks View only access. All right. So we can see your QuickBooks. All right. My team is very well trained, and they know that, roughly what material costs are supposed to be of your total gutter revenue. I'm not going to touch any of your soft washing revenue or any of your lawn care revenue or any other businesses we have in here. All right. I don't care about that revenue. You just got to have it separated. All right, this is our revenue. This is our material cost. Really, really simple. If you're using Yeti Books or any of those other companies, it's really, really simple for them to break that out. All right. So we have QuickBooks View only access. We can set it up to ACH, and we can handle that on our end, or we can just send you an invoice, and you got to pay that invoice. Right. So if I already do gutter, do I have to pay 10% of any of that revenue? The answer is yes, because you will have a drastic increase in your existing gutter business. All right, this is going to radically change it. As I told you about Colin DeHaan doubling his average ticket, Tim Johnson 2.5xing his average ticket. Right, we are seeing massive results. All right, so if you are pacing to do $500,000 this year in seamless gutter work, but you're only at $300,000 right now, you're going to pay me on that remaining $200,000. All right. I'm not going to back charge you for everything, right? It starts the day you sign, but yeah, everything from day one that you sign going forward, we get 10% off because it's that darn good. Can I do this without being involved at all? Absolutely. I've had a handful of people take this as an investor opportunity. So they buy this, they hire somebody to run it, or they already have that who in their brain, right? I had one guy that his dad needed something to do, And so he said, all right, I'm going to buy this, Colin, and I'm going to put my dad through all this, and he's going to build the gutter business. He's 60 years old. He has nothing to retire with, and hopefully in the next 2 years he can automate this thing and actually retire. So he absolutely can, right? So that's one example. I have another guy who owns a patio paver company in Fort Myers, Florida, and same thing. He's like, hey, my business is working. I'm ready for the next one. I don't want to touch it, though. I said, you're the perfect guy for this program, right? So he jumped in, hired a GM, and off to the races, right? Got another guy in Orlando, Florida. He sells timeshares, makes $500,000 a year. Says this is getting way too unethical. I got to get out of this business, but I got a $500,000 lifestyle, right? I got to replace this income. Can I do this with seamless gutter? So I did it, right? And he's like, okay, cool. So he hired a GM, and that GM hired a sales rep, hired technicians, and off they go, right? They're rocking and rolling. So hopefully we'll hear from you guys.
Thank you,
All right?
so much.
And yeah, so he's rocking and rolling. He's in Orlando, Florida. All right, so you can absolutely do this and not know a single thing about seamless gutters. All right, Brian, the guy in Orlando, Florida, he's like, Colin, I don't even know how to use a drill. So even better, I need you, right? I need you to be a perfect example for everybody else. All right, and like I said, I've helped existing gutter companies relaunch their business. Now there are failure stories too, right? I've got one guy that I had to boot out. He just refused to change anything in his business, and I said, all right, man, hey. A, you didn't pay me 10% last month, and B, you're not doing anything. You made 0 changes. Like, let's just bail you out here, right? I'm going to revoke all of your access to everything. You don't owe me a dime, but I can't have somebody not performing in this thing. It doesn't make sense for me. I need to have people who are winners in this, and our community is worth more than that to have somebody in here who's not sold on it, all right? Ironically, he was in the same market as Wes and had all the excuses that Wes was crushing. So I can't charge that much. Wes charges that much. I can't hire employees. Wes hires employees, right? Their offices are 15 minutes apart. And Wes did more than him in his first month, and the other guy had been in business 3 years, all right? So it happens, right? Unfortunately, right? I pray for that guy. I don't wish ill on him, and I'm sorry if it sounded like I was making fun of him, right? But some people just have that limiting belief, right? And that's it. So can I do this without being involved at all? Can I do this even if I know nothing about seamless gutters? Absolutely. All right. Like I said, Brian didn't know how to use a drill. You got to use a drill every day hanging seamless gutters. All right. He said, I don't want to hang a seamless gutter in my life. Cool. You're the perfect guy. My target for you guys, if you do this, is to never install a seamless gutter yourself. All right? If you do that, you will be pacing so much faster than 99% of businesses out there. Everybody starts a business and thinks, I need to do this thing for X amount of months until I figure this out. Then I can hire my first employee and teach him for a year, and then he can run the truck, and then he's going to quit, and then you're stuck on the truck for another year, and it's an endless cycle. We've all been in it, right? Oh, we got a couple of those in the back seat, huh? So, yeah, it sucks. It's a hard thing to do. I did it, right? I did it for 2 years, all right? My first year, I ran this business completely like a cowboy, all right? I was shooting from the hip, all right? And any bit of money that business made was my money to spend on a motorcycle, on this, on that, or on a jet ski, whatever, right? I did not run a business, right? And then the next year, pretty similar thing. I had this wild idea. It wasn't a wild idea. It was a God idea. He moved us down to Sarasota, Florida, and I kept my business running up in Michigan, and it survived by the hair on my chin, but it survived. We ended up running back with our tail tucked between our legs because God revealed a lot of really cool things to us while we were in Sarasota, Florida, and life got really hard, and we ran back to Michigan. So we did that, and then I came back in and as the savior of the business and got back on the truck, and everything was good. But then I started learning about building an actual business, and I was like, oh, I need to get off this truck. I can't build systems while hanging from a roof or being on a ladder or whatever, right? Or driving the truck to the next job. I can't be doing this, right? I need to be focused on actually growing the business. I need to learn how to be a marketer. I need to learn how to do this. So that's when I started learning it. It took me about 3-4 years to really figure out how to be a business owner, right? Every now and then I'd get pulled back in, right? It was really freaking difficult. I didn't have, an analogy I used yesterday, right? A coach, a mentor, YouTube, whatever can show you how to build a house, right? But you still got to figure it out. You got to build a house. You still got to make money at your day job in order to build the house, right? But what I'm giving you is the house already. You just got to go in and start using the kitchen, using the bathroom. That's it. We all know how to do that, right? So that's all you got to do, right? I'm giving you the house. It's all built already for you. It's not done with you. It's done for you, all right? And how long will it take for me to make my money back? Pay me $40K? I mean, Wes, 2 months, right? Eric, $98K in his first month. You could pay that all back. He made his money back his first month, right? It's pretty freaking insane. The gutter industry is off the chains. It is there for the taking. I've talked to a handful of you guys, and there's nobody in your market, right? It's ripe, ready for somebody to come in and be a professional and win bigly, all right? That's it. What other questions can I answer for you guys? That's all the FAQs. Jake, let's hear it.
Is it training involved?
Yes, great question. So it's a full LMS. So it will teach you, your employees, every position that you hire, from entry-level office clerk to GM. It'll train them everything. So Shelby's going to get into it right now. Holy smokes.
So bad on the TV.
Press command plus sign.
Command plus sign.
See if that helps.
Okay, zoom that puppy in. I'll get up here.
There you go.
That's better.
Sorry, I wouldn't normally drink during a presentation like this. It's my second presentation ever, but my voice is torched from 2 days of nonstop talking, and this is helping a little bit. So this is the platform, all right? This is accessible via an app on your phone and accessible via desktop as well, right? So before we get started, is just downloading the app, right? We have coachable moments with me. This is everything that I have learned from paying. I think I'm closing in on $1 million in mentorship over the last 5 years of my life. All right. I pay a lot of money to learn a lot of really cool things and get in rooms with people that know a lot more than me. All right. I'm 5-6 times a year. I'm in rooms with people closing in on $1 billion net worth. All right. I put everything I learned in those coachable moments. All right. Because I want to share that with you guys. All right. And then, the initial startup task, this is everything from starting your LLC. Literally, click on the LLC one. I want to show you guys how cool this is, all right? So you register your LLC. You can literally pick your state here, and it'll bring you right to your state's website to register your LLC, all right? This is how simple I made everything, all right? So it'll show you how to register your LLC, and that's a really crappy MacBook video, but I spent a lot of money on irregular videos, the sales, all that, the admin, the install is all professional videographer. All right. I spent a bunch of money making sure that those looked really, really good for you guys. What are we in? Sales process. All right. So this is everything from how we initially call the customer, where we park the car even. All right. And why we park the car where we do, and why it's so important to park the car there. You can see why I like parking my cars in important spots, right? Because they're freaking beautiful, and our customers are just like, wow, that looks amazing. And we make intentional trips out to that car throughout the sales process to draw their attention to it, because that big Superior logo is just burning in their brain, all right? Our marketing, I want to show you guys the marketing real quick. Click on the welcome to marketing, because that'll pull up everything. I had it broken down really, really well on a slide yesterday. But what we do, welcome back, sir. Congratulations on joining Gutter Launch today. Woo! Let's go. Let's go.
Nice close.
So the marketing, I really shortened this up. I already gave them all the price already, and they didn't have to sit through 2 hours. So, but anyways, so how we do it, our marketing, we start with an every door direct mailer, which is the most expensive marketing material that you can possibly do. All right. You don't need to do that. All right. If you've got money to spend, I recommend it, especially if you're launching a new business. You need to create awareness of yourself. But if you don't have money, that's okay. All right. It becomes putting yard signs out. It becomes putting door hangers out. Using Send Gym. Send Gym is a huge tool that we use. Every single estimate we go on, the 50 surrounding neighbors get a mailer saying, hey, we're going to your neighbor's house. If you both buy, you get 20% off, right? Gets the neighbors talking. And they're like, hey, are you having them out? No, but I got that too. Let's get them out here, right? Because everybody wants a deal, right? So we do that. And then they see our vehicles. And then they see the yard signs again. Then they get more door hangers because their neighbor just had us out there. And then they get another Send Gym because their neighbor actually bought from us saying, hey, your neighbor unlocked that 20% off. You should buy right now too, right? And then they see our vehicles again. And then they see our truck out there doing the actual job. And they see our guys. And they see us. They get touched by us 6 to 10 times before they ever call us, all right? So it is guerrilla marketing to a T, all right? But it works really, really well. As Eric Adank is living proof. I mean, 6 figures in his first month by just doing this. He's been booked solid with 3 to 5 estimates every single day in a completely new market, with a completely new business, in a horrible GMB, in a horrible SEO in month 1. All right? No paid Google ads, no paid Facebook ads. He hasn't even gotten those going yet, has he? No. Those are launching Monday. There we go. So literally all organic leads like that, all right? I look back to Alex because Alex is actually the Facebook guy that we use and we recommend. I'll have him talk a little bit too on his experience because he works with only seamless gutter companies when it comes to Facebook and Google ads. But he's really, really extra in the sense that they actually book the appointments for you as well, right? So they will reach out to the customer 3 times a day. They will double dial them 3 times a day. So they'll make 6 phone calls trying to book an appointment with them. And they only get paid if they book the appointment. It's the most ridiculous business model I've ever seen. But I tested it out and I said, all right, you're going in gutter launch and I'm going to refer all of these clients to you because there's nobody doing even remotely close to what you are. So marketing, we just guerrilla market the heck out of them. What are we at? Gutter install here. So this is everything, literally, how to wind up the extension cord at the end of the job. All right, I told you guys about that. How to set ladders, where to park the truck, right? Because who knows, if you back your truck up, right? Say this is the garage or the house, you back your truck up to it. Well, you can't run a gutter out the gutter machine anymore. All right. I've had multiple employees get all set up and run a piece of 4-foot gutter out and be like, oh crap, we're gonna hit the house. And then you gotta move the truck, right? It's like, nah, come on, man. So we teach them where to park the truck so they don't make that mistake and look like fools in front of our customers. How to install the gutter, how to measure, how to send the measurements, right? How we track the measurements and where they go, all that good stuff. How to install the seamless gutter, or how to install the gutter cover, all the different types of hangers, everything that you possibly need to know, all right? It's all in there, all right? And then do the training employees. Yeah, I want to show them this, but then can you get into what that looks like? Because your employees don't need to know how to open an LLC. They don't need to know, how to do all the marketing and all that other stuff, right? Like your regular employees don't need to know that stuff. Your management, you can let them into your access, but you train new hires, so you're hiring an admin or sales and tech, you just simply click there, and then you put in their name and their email, and it'll send them to the LMS. Are you able to pull that up easily?
Wait a second.
Okay. Anybody got any questions on what they've seen so far in this? Yeah.
So what's you guys' good close rate for gutter estimates?
Yeah, 50 to 70%.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you mentioned when you look into QuickBooks and everything, you look at material cost and everything. So
Yep.
is that 10% including the total cost of the job or
Yeah.
minus materials?
So it's 10% off the top line revenue.
Okay, Tom.
Yeah. So if you do $100,000 in sales that month, we get 10% of that. Right. Great question. What else we got? All right. So this is it. So we believe in cross-training everybody. So if we hire an admin, you call my office right now, and they will run circles around you in your gutter knowledge. All right. They know the difference between an A elbow and a B elbow. right? They know, and they can diagnose your leak on the phone, right? And the reason that I cross-train them on all of this and how to install and how to sell is they set our salespeople up for success. When they ask the right questions and don't just take the surface level answer, they can dig a little bit deeper and set our salesperson up for success, right? And then when it comes to install, if a customer calls and is like, hey, my gutter is leaking. Well, hey, Mrs. Smith, we had a lot of dew. I noticed my gutters were dripping this morning too, and I looked at them and they were covered in dew. Are you sure it's not the dew just dripping off, right? Because we get a lot of calls like that. Oh, my gutters are leaking. It's like, no, they're just covered in dew, and it's going to drip off in the morning, right? And simple things like that, all right? So they're able to eliminate us having to go and look at a non-leaking gutter, right? Which saves us company money and allows us to continue to produce income, right? So we cross-train on all that. Our gutter install, our technicians, they learn enough about admin to be able to operate in the CRM efficiently, right? And then they learn how to sell as well, because who here knows when you're out working, the neighbors always stop by and say, hey, can you come give me an estimate when you're done, right? How much more powerful is it if that sales rep or that technician can become a sales rep, sell it, and be like, we'll install it right now, right? That's a huge close, right? We can do it right now. We're here. Let's just do it done. Get it done, right? So we allow our technicians to become sales reps, and then they get that commission as well. It's a bonus for them, right? And we cross-train them like that so that they can earn more income. That's it. And then same thing with sales reps, right? We teach them how to install, because who here has ever been a technician and had a sales rep sell them something, sell a job that they just showed up and like, what the heck? Like, how are we supposed to do this, man? This is 80 feet up in the air, and nowhere on this work order does it say we need a 40-foot ladder or a lift in order to reach us with our pressure washer, right? We've all been there. We've all done that stupid stuff, right? So we teach our tech, and you'll still get that, right? At the end of the day, you got humans working for you, right? And you got sales reps that want to make a sale, right? But this will eliminate a lot of that, all right? So you guys got any questions for me at this moment?
How can you charge the amount that you said compared to other companies?
Yeah, great question. Yeah. It's a culmination of a lot of things, all right? So from the time you call in, so you're calling me for an estimate, right? Our admin live by the saying, you need to get them to commit without being inconvenient, all right? So we ask a series of questions that is just pushy enough to be like, why are you asking this? But okay, I'll give it to you. But also not like, no, I'm not answering that question, right? So things like, how long have you known about this issue, right? What caused you to call today, right? We want to know what caused them to call today. Not what caused you to call, right? But what caused you to call today? Well, you know what? I walked in my house and I was trying to lock my door and I had 3 water drips drip on my neck, and I've never had more than 1, and it just pissed me off. Okay, cool. Well, they're emotional. We got to get there ASAP while they're emotional and buy this and get them to buy this thing, right? Or they say, you know what? I got water in my basement. Okay, how long have you been dealing with that issue? Oh, gal, I've owned this house for 7 years. It's always been an issue. Okay, well, what caused you to call today? Well, I don't know. I just kind of got sick of it. You didn't have something in the basement that got ruined? Well, yeah, I did. I had my mom's wooden chest in the basement and it got wet or whatever, right? And, oh, that sucks. I'm really sorry to hear that. We can absolutely get out there right away and look at this, right? I can't guarantee that just putting gutter up will solve your wet foundation issues, but 9 times out of 10, it does help drastically. And most of those times, it actually cures the problem, right? And then we ask things like, will we be able to get in your basement and do a foundation inspection, right? Some of y'all probably don't have basements where you live, right? No basements in Georgia. Right, crawl space. Even bigger baller if you get in their crawl space, all right? You just watch out for them snakes down in Georgia, all right? And but yeah, if you do those things, that's how you can ask, right? So we set it all up on the front end. Our admin make them commit without being inconvenient, right? Our guerrilla marketing, we're the only company that comes in their brain when they think anything seamless gutter, right? It's kind of like Amazon, right? When you think, all right, I need to buy something, right? And you go on Amazon, you're not going to look at Amazon and be like, I'm going to run to Walmart first, and I'm going to run to Publix or whatever your local grocery store is first and see how they compare, right? You're not going to do that. You're just going to buy it on Amazon because Amazon owns your brain space in marketing, right? So that's what we want to do with our business, right? And that's what we do. So then the sales process, this is one of my favorite things that I do. I'm always intentionally, I don't get to sell anymore, but I was always intentionally 2 minutes late. And I would call the customer like 15 minutes, so say I was supposed to be there at 1. I'd call them at 12:45. Hey, Mrs. Smith, I'm so sorry. I'm on the way, but I'm going to be like 2 minutes late. And I just shut up. And they're like, oh, well, thank you for letting me know, Colin. Like, you didn't need to call, though. It's only 2 minutes. Like, well, you know, I was raised that if I'm going to, 5 minutes early is on time, right? So I'm actually running really 7 minutes late in my brain, but you know, my last appointment ran a little bit over, and I just had to pee really quick at the gas station. But while I'm there, can I get you some beef jerky or Mountain Dew or anything like that, right? And it's just a little thing that 9 out of 10 customers won't take you up on buying them something. But they're like, no, I mean, yeah, thank you for the offer, but no, you're completely fine, Colin. I'll see you at 1:02, right? And they're just like, wow, that guy is a whole different level of professional. He called me because he was running 2 minutes late, right? And then you got to intentionally be 2 minutes late, or at least 1 minute late. Right? But yeah, that's a little magic trick that we do. And then when we show up, we inspect their basement, their crawl space. No other gutter companies are doing this out there, right? They show up, they take their wheel and they measure all around your house and say, all right, Mrs. Smith, you got 127 feet of gutter, and it's going to cost you $1,800, right? And they're like, oh, okay, right? And when we present, you know, we're there. We do a whole walk around with them. Talk about all their plants, talk about all their stuff, right? Build the rapport. Any problem areas that you know of, can we look in your basement? We look in their basement, we shine a flashlight. Oh, see how there's a little bit of water here? We definitely don't want to put a downspout there because that'll saturate this water, this area. You get some more water on that block. Oh my goodness. Nobody else thought about that. Nobody else even asked to see that. And then when we present, it's all right, Mrs. Smith, you got 127 feet of 6-inch seamless gutter. Now, here's the difference between a 6-inch and a 5-inch, right? And what did other people quote you? I don't know. They never said. All right, well, here's what we're doing. We're quoting you a 6-inch gutter. You can see it's about 90% bigger, right? Yeah, that's crazy. 1 inch makes it look that much bigger, right? And then, so we've got that. Now we got the water out of the gutter, right? So we've got 6 downspouts on your house as well, right? And they're all under 2 stories, so they're all under our flat rate fee. Okay, great. You got 4 outside corners, 1 inside corner. And then you'd mentioned that you wanted a couple hinges on those 2 downspouts, on this one here and this one here, and you show them the pictures on your company cam. And they're like, yep, I wanted those hinges. Okay, so we're gonna have those 2 hinges. And then we got 127 feet of whatever cover that they chose earlier in the process, right? So a lot more value added in that, and your price is $3,700. And they're like, whoa, the last guy was $1,700. Yeah, but you told me you didn't know what you're getting with that last guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Like, you know what you're gonna get with me, right? Yeah, I do. Okay. I'm not gonna pressure you into anything, right? I've already educated you. You know what you're gonna get. You can call the other guy, or we can choose to go with us, and I can call the other guy and say, hey, they're all set. We got them taken care of, right? And that's like a power close, and they just laugh at that, and they're like, all right, yeah, let's do it, right? Now, that only happens probably 40% of the time, all right? We don't close on the spot always, right? And I don't believe in that model, right, where we just are there hardcore closing people. We don't drop our price. Our price is our price, unless they have a mailer with some sort of offer, right? But even then, they never know the original offer. It becomes, this is with the 10% off or the 20% off, this is your price. We never drop price, but our follow-up, all right? Now we date our clients, all right? When y'all got married or dated somebody in the past, you don't go on one date and then just, I'm not going to let them call me again. Or I'm not going to call them. I'm going to wait for them to call me. No, we don't do that in business. We got to pursue our clients, all right? Don't actually try and date your clients, all right? But you actually got to pursue them, all right? They want to be wanted. People want to buy. They don't want to be sold, all right? So you call them, hey, Mrs. Smith, would love to earn your business. Have you come to a decision yet? You know what, Colin? I'm not quite there yet. I know what I'm getting with you. You're $2,000 more, and like, what are you hoping to get? Like, what's your knight in shining armor look like? That's one of my favorite questions to ask. What's your knight in shining armor look like? Well, you at $1,700, well, we know that that can't happen, all right? You might be able to get a knight in some really dull armor riding on a frog, but not on a horse, right? Like, what do you want here, right? And I'm going to have a really dull sword at $1,700. And they usually laugh. And I'm like, all right, I'll let you know, right? And we follow up a few days later, and that's usually when it closes, right? So usually like a 3 to 4 day cycle on them buying, all right? Some of them buy right on the spot, but yeah. Did that answer your question? And
Buy and say, when you were saying inspecting their, basement or crawl space, can you ever get in trouble? They were like, well, why didn't you tell me this was more, leaking more here? And,
oh,
you know, they could have said, well, you inspected it.
yeah. We have never run into that. Yeah, I just haven't run into that. So I'm sure. I mean, anybody can sue for anything these days, right? But yeah, no, we've never run into that.
What kind of insurance do you carry?
Yeah, regular. We have regular general liability insurance. We have workers' comp for all of our employees, commercial auto, and then I have a commercial umbrella policy, right? And then you also have it's called an inland marine policy to cover all your equipment and all that good stuff. So, yep.
And all of your training, is it done online?
Yes. Yep. All of it is done right on this app or on the computer. Yep. Yes, sir.
So how are you guys, I know you were saying that you'll have people that start locations like in other cities.
Yeah.
Where they're not at. If you're doing that, obviously you said, hire a GM, hire some salespeople. Are you guys basing that solely on commission type stuff for them? Like how are y'all doing that? Like what kind of startup cost is that looking like?
Yeah.
To basically run a separate branch? Because ideally for me, I'd like to do it in the town we want to move to.
Okay.
And then, have a business that's growing in there so that we
Can move
afford
there.
to move to the nicer
Yeah.
town.
Right. That's a really, really tricky question. All right. It's a much more difficult method. All right. How I do it is I have partners when I launch new locations in new states. I find partners that invest into me. They actually pay me a lump sum up front to be a 50% profit share partner. All right. So they pay me money up front, so I know that they're serious. Right. But what most people do is they'll hire a GM, right? They got to have the right who. I wouldn't recommend just putting an ad on Facebook or ad on Indeed and like looking for somebody to run a gutter company, right? You need to have that right person in your brain already who could run that for you. And your offer, if you want that to be your main source of income, it could be really tricky off the rip unless you're already sitting on a bunch of capital. All right. So those guys who are investors, they're dropping big money before they start making money. All right. They buy the program. Usually those guys pay all up front. So they'll give me $65K. They'll go out. They'll buy the truck. Usually they've got a boatload of money, so they'll go buy a brand new truck, right, for $50,000. They'll buy a brand new gutter machine for $12,000, or like the one guy in Florida, he does 7-inch only, so he bought an $18,000 machine, right? So he went out, spent a bunch of money, right? And then he's got to hire his GM, right? And his GM in Orlando, that's going to cost him, for someone worth a darn, $80,000 salary, right? So now he's paying $80,000 salary, which is what, $1,600 a week, right? So he's got plenty of money to be burning on that, right? He's playing the long game with it. So in your situation, I don't know your financial situation. If you're sitting on stacks of cash, that might be an option for you. But I would look into more of a partnership model in that, and maybe even like a phantom equity, right, where they actually don't own anything on paper, but they get profit sharing, right? And so they're motivated to do that. Like, hey, I can give you a $40,000 salary, but we'll split profits, right? And so then every quarter you distribute profits,
Then you
right?
open the second location.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It can get a little bit tricky, but That's when business gets really fun, though, when you start pushing the envelope like that. So
So do you think it could, a real cost to starting it could be, what, around $80,000-$90,000? Say
yeah,
you were going to run it yourself, you were the man on the truck and.
yep. If I was the man, so that's how I started. All right, when I got started, I bought a box truck for $1,500. All right, and I put it on a 0% interest credit card because I didn't have $1,500. I had $700 in my bank account. All right, I bought it. I knew the contractor owed one of the supply houses money, and I said, "Hey, I'll go put this. I'll pay you $1,500." Or he was asking $1,200 for the truck. I said, "I'll give you $1,500, but I got to pay it on a credit card at your supplier." And he said, "Okay, deal. Then I can buy material again and keep making money." Right? So that's what I did. I went and paid $1,500 on his account. I got the truck. It was an old jalopy. It was 20 some odd years old and breaking down every other week. But I knew if I could get it making me money, I could afford the repairs. Right? So I did that. And then I hounded my dad for $2,600 for my first gutter machine. And it came with about 600 feet of gutter coil. So I was like, perfect. That will pay for my gutter machine. Like, that'll cover my costs, and I'll be able to pay my dad back. My dad handed me that money and said, "I don't expect you to ever be able to pay this back. You're making a huge mistake." Right? And I said, "Well, thanks, Dad." All right? And not the first time I've heard this from you. So I did that, and then I went to Lowe's, and I opened a credit card, and I spent like $1,800 on ladders and drills and levels and everything I needed to fit in the truck, and put that all on 0% for 6 months. And that's how I started my business. So I was in it for just under $7,000 all in, after buying some T-shirts and getting a logo put on my truck and all that good stuff, right? So I was in it for $7,000. That was back in winter of 2015, 2016, right? Things have obviously changed since then, right? And so now if you wanted to go, if I were to start, like when I start a new location, I buy a brand new truck. It's $50,000, right? I finance 100% of it with my bank. I buy a brand new machine. Brand new 6-inch machine is about $12,000. And then I buy all brand new small tools and whatnot to the tune of like $3,000 to $5,000, right? And then I will, like our new locations, the trucks ship to my headquarters. We build it all out, put the ladder rack on, put the machine in it, build all the shelving so they're all identical. Right? One of my techs from Michigan can fly down to Florida or out to Colorado, and the truck's identical, right? So we build it out, and then one of my gutter supervisors drives it out there, and once a bunch of jobs are sold, right? They sell a bunch of jobs, show up, and he trains the new hires a little bit. They go through all the stuff, and then he's just on the truck with them for the first few days, showing them some ropes, helping them figure out their speed and all that good stuff, and then we fly them back home, right? So that's how we do that. But somebody could buy a used gutter machine for $4,000 to $8,000. They could buy a used box truck for the same price, right? I wouldn't recommend buying used ladders because usually they're twisted up and stuff like that. So go buy actual good tools and ladders and stuff like that. Spend your $2,000 or $3,000 at Lowe's and get set up on that. So you could be on the low side, $15,000, and then you got some marketing stuff, so $15,000, $20,000. On the high side, you could be, $120,000 if you really wanted to. So
I think maybe I confused myself. So with that $40,000.
yep. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that doesn't include that. Yep.
Okay, so that $40,000 is to get the guerrilla marketing, knowing how to do it.
Yep.
And then if we say, hey, can you help us set up our trucks and all that? You can do that.
That's
also?
all in here as well. So the whole truck layout, everything is here. So the $40,000 is for all of this.
Okay.
Everything. So training your technicians, training your sales reps, training your admins, setting the CRM up, setting up with Facebook ads, all that stuff, right? You still have to pay the Facebook ads, right? That's on you. I'm not going to cover the marketing cost, right? I'm not going to cover your CRM or your QuickBooks or any of that stuff. You'll still have those monthly expenses. But yes, so the $40,000 is for everything in the Gutter Launch program. And then on top of that, you'll have an additional as low as $15,000, $20,000 or as high as $100,000, depending on the model you guys want. If you're like me and you don't want to deal with the vehicles breaking down and whatnot, you buy a brand new one, right? But yeah, it's for me at this point in my life, I can afford to do that. But when I started, I had to bootstrap it. I had to be underneath there welding exhaust and stuff that was falling off driving down the road, right? That was me. I was that guy 7 years ago, right? Had to do it. So
Is now a good time to go in about the CRM?
yeah, we can talk about CRM. Yeah, what's your question on it?
You tell me. Go ahead.
I was just, what do you recommend? What's
Yeah, so we have, can you pull that up here? Ouch. So we use Service Fusion as a CRM, all right? Service Fusion, all right? Everybody in here knows what Service Titan is, right? Okay, so Service Titan had a baby, and I call it Service Fusion, all right? It's very, very close to Service Titan, except for rather than $400 per month per employee, it's like $300 per month for unlimited employees. So much more affordable. So we show you where, okay, so up here in the getting started, initial startup tasks, scroll down to Service Fusion right there. So in your initial startup, we'll walk you through all of it, right? There's a link to purchase. We tell you exactly which one to buy. It's actually 186 or 340 for the Pro model, all right? So this is all you need to really get started, but within a year, you'll have to upgrade to Pro, all right? So 186 bucks a month. And then if you go down to admin, I strongly suggest everybody in here is an entrepreneur, and admin is like our least favorite thing to be doing. All right, maybe not you. You seem like somebody who would be really, really good at admin, right? But admin is my least favorite thing to do. I've got an executive assistant. I've got everything short of a CEO in my company, right? But my admin was still to date my favorite hire because it took so much off of my plate. So she actually built all this out. You got to roll, Jeremy?
Yeah.
All right, man.
I gotta get on a plane, so.
Okay. All right. We're going to talk.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
We're going to talk. Did you fill out your thing?
No.
Oh, you're killing me, Smalls.
Jeremy.
Okay.
Jeremy.
Jeremy's in my state, so I can hunt him down. All right. Y'all can't leave. Nobody else can leave until I'm done. So Service Fusion, all right, this was my admin team built all this for me, all right? So just a quick overview, and then this is all the videos that you could possibly need. How to set up your estimate templates, right? So when you show up to a job, you can quick rip out estimates. It just pulls up in your phone and boom, 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 or on your iPad, and you can fill it all in, right? Your product catalog, all the different products that you need to put in to your Service Fusion, all right, and the prices that you want to set them at that we recommend, right? Your workforce management, how to add employees into Service Fusion and get them access to it. Converting a job to an invoice. Creating a customer in the estimate. Sorry, I skipped that one. Literally everything that you need to know about Service Fusion is in here, all right? All your follow-ups. We've got how to pull reports. We've got everything. Accounts receivable, how to look that up. You scroll back up. Okay. You can see we've got our phone script actually written out in here. We've got dispatching. We make our admin do a lot of our marketing as well, right? So they'll send gyms I was mentioning. When we send it to the radius bound to the 50 surrounding neighbors, our admin does that, right? That's just part of their job at the end of the day before they go home. They got to make sure that every person that called in today, their 50 neighbors are all getting a mailer, all right? So we teach how to do that, all right? The dispatching is really, really cool. Did you already click that? Scroll down, dispatching. I don't like this one, or no, it's this one I do like. It can actually ping where all the jobs are. So you can pull it up and see all of your sold jobs, and you can be like, all right, we're doing this neighborhood today. We'll do this neighborhood tomorrow. We'll do this neighborhood the next day, right? It maps it all for you, so you can just boop, 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 and drag them right into your schedule. So really, really awesome program. I mean, we love it. So did that answer your question on the CRM? Is that pretty clear? Cool.
So can you, in the beginning, can you use like what are they called, Jill's office or something?
Yeah.
As your phone
Mm-hmm.
solicitor or
Yeah.
And have them ask those questions and stuff like that?
You absolutely could. I tried using Jill's office probably like 4 or 5 years ago, and it didn't work well for me. I can't speak to how they work now. I don't know if you use them in your business, but you absolutely could use that and just, hey, I've got this whole thing for you here. And you onboard them as an admin. It'd be
Because payroll's going to be, especially for a startup, payroll is a huge, you know, like
Right.
you got. And
Yep.
you-
yeah,
Talking
yeah, right.
and stuff. So watching payroll now on your crews out there, you're paying them a percentage.
Correct. Yep.
Stuff. And do you have a formula that you have? Because you're going to have, let's say,
Yeah.
how many guys are in a crew?
2.
Just 2?
2 guys on one truck. Yep.
One guy cutting and one guy, 2 guys.
Nope. One guy hanging, one guy running the gutter, and then the way that it flows. 2 guys. Yep.
Okay, so then do you have a crew chief? Do you give them a little bit more percentage of, like if it's a $500 commission for them to put that on there, the crew chief gets 300, they get 200, or his helper? Do you do something like that?
I don't follow what you're asking.
What are your commissions for your
Yeah.
techs?
Let me just run through what that looks like. All right. So we pay the truck 10%. We have a gutter supervisor, right, who manages all the gutter crews. He gets 2% of everything, right? So he's the one. He actually helps dispatch a little bit, and like, all right, this job's only gonna take them an hour and a half. We can squeeze this one in here or whatever, right? So we pay him, and he's in charge of ordering the product and setting it out for the guys. So they show up to the shop at the end of the night, unload their truck, load it up for the next day, and off they go, right? So that's our gutter supervisor. He gets 2% of all gutter revenue, all right? Then we have our truck that actually gets 10% of their total, all right? So if our trucks are doing $25,000, $30,000 a week, let's say they're doing $30,000, all right? We pay 10% to that. That's $3,000 that week that the truck gets paid, all right? Only the lead guy is commission-based, all right? His helper we hire at an hourly rate, all right? And so while he's an apprentice, because most people don't want to jump into a new career and be sold the sun, moon, and the stars on commission and then make a lot less, right? You got to kind of break them into it and let them see the sun, moon, and the stars, right? So we pay them hourly like they all know, right? So we'll say technician, the apprentice is making $20 an hour, all right? And they worked 40 hours that week. So that is $800. So we got $3,000 paid to the truck. We got to subtract the $800 for the helper's pay, right? So now lead guy made $2,200 that week. Does that make sense? Is that clear? Cool. So that's how we pay the technicians. And all that is done via just simple reports in Service Fusion. What else we got? Jake?
Buying materials.
Buying materials.
Do you have vendors already
Yeah.
established or buying?
No, so that's something I'm working on with ABC Supply, but they're being really, really stingy with me. Like, oh no, the aluminum prices all over the country are way different, right? We can't guarantee a price here and there, and it doesn't work that way, right? They're being a pain in the butt. But I do tell you how to shop vendors. I show you how to do that, how to find the vendors, and what to look for in a vendor. So I teach you all of that stuff. There's aluminum vendors all over this country. So like us up in Michigan, we have a company called Michigan Aluminum, and they will blow the socks off of almost every major distributor, right? Somehow they do it. But then, coil, I'll pay like $3.30 a pound up in Michigan. And then down in North Carolina, Eric was like, yeah, my price is under $3 a pound down here in North Carolina, right? It does vary, so. What was that?
The coil or the machine itself, the gutter machine itself,
Yep.
are they specific for either a 4 or a 5 or a 6, or do they have a die that you can change? to
Yeah.
find 4, 5, and 6?
Yeah, so they are combo machines, and they're only 2, so you could do a 5 and 6 inch or a 6 and 7 inch. But that's it. Yeah, you can only do 2 of them. I haven't seen 4-inch gutters in a very, very, very long time. 5 inch is kind of becoming obsolete. I strongly recommend everybody in Gutter Launch do 6 inch only, unless you're in Florida, and then do 7 inch only. It makes warehousing 10 times easier. Your machining You are always wrecking material. Your guys will forget, oh, next job 6-inch, and so there goes 10 feet of 5-inch material, right? Or they change the machine over and they forget to change one of the dies, right? And now they wreck 10 feet, 15 feet of coil, right? And it happens to be a special color, right? So now you can't do that run at that customer's house, and so you do half the job, and then you gotta show up a week later or 2 weeks later when the material shows up and finish it,
So
right?
typically what you're saying though, they're set up to where they'll either run perhaps a 6 or a 7.
Right.
Depending.
Yep.
They'll have a machine specific just for that one.
They do they do have 5-inch only, 6-inch only, and 7-inch only machines too. They're less expensive than the combos. Yes. Yep. I used to do 5 and 6-inch. So like in Michigan, my machines are all 5-6 combos, but every machine that we've been buying lately has been 6-inch only, except for our Florida location. That one is 7-inch only. So, but 7-inch you got to buy a bigger box truck because it's a 13-foot long machine opposed to a 9-foot long 6-inch machine. So had to buy a bigger truck. So
Was that on like a 3/4 bed truck or something?
yeah, so we use Chevy Express 3500s. They're cutaway van or cab over vans. What is that? I think that's what they call them. Yeah, cutaway. Yeah. So they're like a box truck, but I get the ones that where the wheel wells are actually in the box, right? That way the actual box is lower. Yeah. Otherwise you need a freaking ladder to get up in that thing, right? So it's really nice when they sit a little bit lower.
Do any of your trucks have I'll just call it a lift or anything comes up,
Yeah.
falls to the back of the
No, all my trucks we do the roll-up doors. That's what works best for that. If you end up going the trailer route, you're going to want barn doors on it rather than a ramp door because it'll be really, really difficult to load gutter coils and stuff.
you said ramp door.
You won't want a ramp door.
No,
No, you want the opening barn doors. Yep.
and not roll up
On enclosed trailers, I haven't.
on a box truck.
Yeah. Oh yeah. On a box truck, you want the roll-up door. Yep. 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 What else do we got? This is a very, very different presentation than yesterday's, right? So, I don't want to sell you guys. I want you guys to buy, but I don't want to sell you. I don't want you to feel pressured. I know that the seamless gutter industry is a freaking goldmine, and it can change a lot of y'all's lives, especially you. And what you got?
Did you mention how many trucks you run?
Yeah, so in Michigan we have 2 trucks. Colorado, we're just 1 truck out there right now. We just launched that 3 weeks ago. North Carolina, we have 1 truck, but we're going to be adding a second one here in probably a month. It's just taking off like a rocket ship. So in Florida, we're launching next month, and we only have the 1 truck. So we service a very small area up in Michigan, and we're a very tourist-heavy town. Our entire county is 28,000 people. It's been able, that 1 truck can do $1.3 million in revenue, right? So it does very, very well, and we're able to scale that business there. But there's only so much gutter. We're traveling like 60 miles to service 100,000 people, right? So our new markets are a little bit bigger markets. We're still not going Nashville size markets or Detroit or anything crazy like that, but these little mid markets are honey holes we're finding.
So those are where you want to
Yeah,
concentrate.
that's where I want to go. They're really easy to take over. When you're in a mid market, there's not a ton of really great competition, right? You can.
Beat on customer service.
It's easy to beat them on customer service and on ranking, right? You can show up really, really quickly on Google. You can show up really, really well on Facebook ads. I do want, Alex, can you come up here a second? I want to just ask you a few questions. So Alex is our Facebook ads guy. He actually I met him because he bought Gutter Lunch. He said, I only do Facebook ads for gutter companies, and I need my appointment setters to actually know what the heck they're talking about. So I want to buy this thing. And so he did. And he put all of his employees through it and is experiencing that they're setting much better leads for all of their customers, right?
Yeah.
But Alex is kind of a perfect storm for owner-operator companies because they will, I mean, you'll even like answer their regular inbound calls, won't you? Or-
Yeah, we're adding that.
Yeah, you're-
Literally 2 weeks ago.
yeah.
It's like for your question, we're kind of a virtual front desk too.
Right.
Right, so, and then we get paid per appointment. Right, so it's all performance based.
All performances. And you do Google and the Facebook?
Yes.
You do the Google dance and all that?
Yep, yep.
And so
Yep.
you two guys are kind of marrying together and stuff, and we
Yeah.
pay you a monthly service fee or
Right.
something to that effect.
Per appointment, it's not a monthly. We have a $0 a month fee, yeah.
So he only gets paid if he gets you leads. That's it.
Yep.
So it's and he has to set those leads for you, right? So he's highly incentivized to actually perform.
I'll tell you guys like a story, like, because I bought Gutter Launch because of the hiring side. And so this week I brought on another 2 callers. And so I literally have not talked to them besides literally the last interview we did, and brought those guys on, put them through the Gutter Launch program, and they're literally making calls today, like as we speak. They already had their all training, like they had everything done. Yesterday they brought on, did some training with one of my team members, and now they're making calls today. So like it just took out a couple weeks, 3-4 weeks of training that I would have to do, that the course just does. I'm like, send me screenshots of all the tests. All right, you're good. Get you on the calls. Go through a couple training modules, and they're all set. So
Right.
actually, they've already scheduled like I think 3 or 4 estimates today.
There we go.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, Shelby, what were you gonna say? You don't forget. You won't remember. Okay. So
So we would pay the ad spend, right, for AdWords, Google
Yep.
or Facebook,
Mhm.
and then you take out the response to them.
Yep.
Yep. So all the follow-up. So like what we do is we do all the follow-up after they opt in, right? And then we kind of work together with Colin's system because like we kind of like our Gutter Launch clients that are also in Gutter Launch, they're great to work with because we know they have all of Colin's systems. And so we work with that as well. So all the follow-up before estimates, all the follow-up after estimates, and then, my job reminders, that sort of thing. And then we also go through and collect reviews as well and help on that end. So it's basically all the admin, customer facing. So the whole goal is for, your sales rep, your installer to be out selling and installing more jobs, right? So.
And then you guys get paid if the appointment gets set.
yes.
Yep. So after you show up to the appointment and it's a qualified lead, we get paid the day after.
And you work off of, say, we're in 37405, so we would call you, start speaking with you, setting things up with you, and you would do what? You wouldn't cold call? you would-
No, we don't cold call. So
Okay.
the leads that we generate for you guys through
Mhm.
2 locations: Google ads, Facebook ads,
Okay.
right? Because in some markets Google works really, really well. Some markets Facebook works really, really well,
Mhm.
right? And so, and we always want to put more money behind what's working the best.
Right, makes
So,
sense.
yeah.
Mhm.
So then we do all those, like we don't do cold calling. I've done cold calling before.
They're
Don't like it.
horrible.
So all the leads that come in, they're opted in like to your business,
Okay.
right? So it's branded to your business, everything like that. And then when our callers are calling, they're taking on your business name, right? And they're trained with
Okay.
everything. So they diagnose
Right.
the issue, they go through same phone scripts, all that sort of stuff, because they're trained. And so when you're showing up there to the appointment, it's as if like you were on the phone with the customer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Alex was not a part of Gutter Launch, right? When he launched his business. And so when he launched, he was helping a lot of owner operators. Can you share with them some of the struggles that you've seen happen with that?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I've talked to hundreds of gutter installers, like probably hundreds per month. And what I see like a lot of in like the owner operator space is they're spread so thin. One of the things is like they can't find good help, or they think they can't find good help, which Colin actually helps with a lot in the hiring thing. So I took like all the hiring scripts that Colin has for his admin side, I put that in for our callers, and I was expecting like a few applications. In the first 3 hours I got 20. Like, shoot, all right. And then
It
it's
works.
funny, I hired 2 people this week, and I'm like, yeah, it's like, dude, this is crazy. So they can't find help. They're not, selling high enough to feel like they can get help, right? Because I've talked to a lot of people like in DFW, for example. I have a client in DFW. He's not in gutter launch. I told him to get the gutter launch. And he's selling it like $6 a foot, right? Colin, you're selling like what, 3 times that?
Yeah,
Right?
pretty much $16.50. So
Yeah.
pretty much 3 times.
And so, like, and he's like, you know, I have trouble like getting new guys. I'm like, well, you need to increase your prices. My market doesn't work. It's like, well, Colin, you've taken people that are charging $6 a foot. Now they're doing 16.
Right.
Yeah. And so now they have the margins to hire. They have the margins to do marketing. They have the margins to scale.
Right.
And so I talk to a lot of people. I have clients still that are still stuck in the truck doing work every single day. And they're the
Right.
ones running the estimates. And they were the ones taking all the phone calls. Now I do that.
He's actually tried referring clients to me, and they're like, "We can't get on a call for 3 weeks. We're too busy."
Yeah.
And it's like, that's exactly why you need to get on the call,
Yeah.
right? And it's just that mindset, right? That mindset shift. And again, I'm not trying to force anybody's hand in like you can't be owner operator, right? Like there's a ton of money to be made in owner operating, right? You can make a boatload of money, but you're gonna be married to this thing. You're gonna be a slave to your job, right? Like that's where it will be. I mean, I talked to you yesterday a little bit about that, right? And it gets hectic, right? And it's hard on the family, right? My wife and kids, other than when we're at a huge convention, I don't miss dinner with them, right? I come home, I'm home at 5 o'clock every day. We eat dinner as a family because that's important to us, right? And I'm on the ranch and we're riding dirt bikes and we're doing whatever we want to do every night, right? Because that's important to us, right? I've been able to live the dream that I want to live, right? Because I chose to build the business the way that I did,
When you
right?
talk about marine business, what are you talking about, Colin?
Marine?
Marine insurance.
Oh, marine insurance.
Marine insurance.
Inland marine. Yeah. It's just inland marine business insurance. Yeah. That's just what they call the
Yeah.
policy. Yeah. Yep.
You had a question.
We got a question?
Did you have a question, Alexander?
Yeah, but I was more curious as
Come in or
to
not?
if this model would work utilizing subcontractors
Yeah.
for the gutter, but
Yeah.
because you would still do all the like upfront touch
Right.
points, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And actually, I've got a really good story for that. All right. So I'm onboarding a guy right now who, for the last 7 years, has been running a roofing business. Scaled it to 5.5 million or something like that, 5 million. Grew it. For some reason, it was in his wife's name only. All right. Well, his wife decided, I want a divorce, and she decided this a year ago. And then he had some clients stiff him on projects to the tune of about $250,000. And he is not authorized to take any legal action. She refuses to take any legal action because it's his baby. She's trying to hurt him through this stuff, right? And so he's forced to close this thing down. The courts are saying, all right, you got to liquidate everything, sell everything, and you can't spend a dime, all right? But somehow you got to maintain your lifestyle. And so he's unable to make money right now, has to provide a lifestyle for her to the tune of $10,000 per month because that's what she's used to and has been used to for the last few years. And he got on the phone with me and was just like, I don't know what to do, man. Like, I'm done with roofing. I'm burnt out on it. Like, I'm hurt by it. I know there's money to be made in the seamless gutter game, but I can't. I've seen some of your stuff, and that's exactly what I need to do. That's not how I ran my roofing business. I was self-employed, and I worked 80 hours a week, and that led to the demise of my marriage. I'm not going to do that again, and I'm not going to put I'm not going to put my kids through that. I'm not going to put my next, if I find another girl through that, like, I'm going to build a business so I can actually be a present husband, present father, and because I need this model, but the court's mandated I can't buy anything right now. And I said, okay. It's fine, man. Like I'm here when you're ready. I don't know how to help you though, right? Like you need some money. And he's like, tell you what. He goes, I've got a subcontractor I used to use with roofing, and he'll do it for $4 a foot. I said, perfect. That's pretty much what it costs to have in-house employees. So let's run with that. You start an LLC, you start selling jobs, and build the business that way, right? And then once this divorce is final and you can spend money again, then we can buy you a gutter machine and a truck and start building the business the way that I teach you to, right? So we found a way we can adapt a little bit, right? Like, that's obviously a really, really, pardon my French, shitty situation, right? But it's real, right? It happens. People go through stuff. And we found a solution for him. So we're onboarding him right now. He's obviously got to navigate some treacherous waters trying to do this without, the courts recognizing him starting a new business and having his friends start it and all this other crazy stuff he's putting a bunch of trust in other people with, right? Yeah, he's doing what he needs to do, right? So yes, the answer to your question is yes. It can be done with a subcontractor if it makes sense. It's got to make sense.
Right.
What else we got? You guys are asking awesome questions. Thank you so much.
Your sales, you're paying your salespeople strictly by commission.
Strictly commission. I do offer a draw. It's a $600 a week draw. I don't have sales reps.
And your commission level is what?
I'm sorry?
What is the commission level?
9% of top line revenue. So if they sell a job for $6,000, they get 9% of that. That's what, $540? Yeah, $540. All right, our sales reps make stupid money. It's stupid money, and I get so pissed at them because they have the easiest job and they refuse to do some of the easiest things, right? But yes, in Gutter Launch there is a document that if they don't put 4-yard signs out, take at least 45 photos or something like that, including photos of damaged siding, damaged landscaping, all this stuff, they get half the commission because I just could not get through to them until I started taking money from them. So, yeah, it's in there. Yep. What else we got? Thank you for awesome questions, everybody. Okay, so you guys have that form, all right? Hopefully all of you have filled it out now and you're just waiting on which box you're going to check, right? And hopefully it's one of the bottom 2 or the bottom 3, I guess. I don't know what it looks like, but yes, I would love to work with each and every one of you. You guys are asking really, really good questions, and I'd love to see you guys just change your lives and build really, really cool businesses, and then when you're ready to retire, sell them to me because it'll look just like I want it to. So. Just so you got in full transparency, right? That is part of my plan, right? You guys build it, and I would love to buy it, all right? When you are ready, I want to buy it because it's going to look just like I want it to, all right? I can scale much, much faster doing it that way, right?
And how would you buy back? What's your, have you thought about
There,
that?
yeah, well, there's a lot of different ways to do buyouts. In a perfect world, I'd love you to owner finance it, right? I give you X amount down, and I think you pay monthly payments, right? But yeah, there's a million ways to buy it, and it all depends on profitability and how many employees you have, how many key employees you have. Do you have a manager? Does it depend on you? All that good stuff, right? So, yeah. Yep. You got something you want to say? You're good? Thank you, sir.
Now, where's our friend out of?
I'm out of Tucson, Arizona.
Tucson.
Yes, sir.
Yep. He's 100% remote. He actually, after he bought Gutter Launch, he was visiting people on the opposite side of the state in Michigan. And was like, hey, I'm in Michigan. Can I come visit you? I was like, yeah, come on up. And we hit it off. And then I hired him to do my ads. And I realized, wow, this is incredible what you're offering. And I coached him up a little bit and said, you're offering the wrong thing. You need to offer that you're booking leads. Not that you're generating leads, but that you're booking the leads for these people, that you're offering admin services. That is what everybody needs. There's a million people out there offering to find leads for you on Facebook, right? There's a bunch of them that suck. So you offer this, and your Facebook and Google leads are just an add-on for that, right? So it's huge, huge opportunity there. So yeah, what else we got? Any other final
So I
questions?
can use you for my other company, too.
We only do gutter installers.
Okay. So hopefully y'all filled that out. Shelby and Alex can take those in the back from you. If you are choosing to buy Gutter Launch, there is a contract and NDA, so you can't resell this thing or any of that crazy stuff, right? but there's a contract and NDA in the back. Really, really just straight to the point, nothing crazy, right? But yeah,
This offer ends today, since huge ends today.
it does end today, right? So tomorrow it will be back to 65K or 15K and 15%, right? Yeah, unfortunately. So, alrighty. Any questions? Cool. Thank you all so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. So this has been a ton of fun for me. If any of you guys want to ask like private questions, I'll be here. So